talk about is setting up a drum program. It still works the exact same way in MPC 3. I know there's a lot of talk and all that, but we're going to start a new project. And the next thing we're going to do is, if you see that there is nothing on this track here, then you'll more than likely want to go into new track and then select drum track. Okay, it's just called a drum track now for starters. The next thing we're going to do, because if we hit these pads, there are nothing on these pads at all. It's just brand new. So what we need to do is press and hold shift, and then go menu, and then it will bring you into your places, content, and expansions and stuff like that. So in theory, what we want to do is load up our own sound. So what we'll do is navigate to, or you can just navigate to your SD card slot, because if you have your SD card inside of your MPC, then you'll be fine. And then if you have a SD, like a solid state hard drive, then it will be up here or whatever. So but what we're gonna go do is just go into the folder here. You can just scroll with the data wheel and then just pick out a folder of your choice. I'll just speed it up and do it myself. All right, so we're in the folder of my own drums here. And there are a couple of things on the screen that you can find out here. If you press and hold shift, you can see that you can load sequences and delete files. You'll find out the drive information. You can even load everything in the folder if you press and hold shift in MPC 3. I don't know if it's like that in MPC 2, but I know that. And then you can addition stuff. You can turn it on and off or whatnot if you don't want to hear any sounds. If you want to be immersed in your sound or whatnot, then you could do that. But obviously I want to put a kick in here. And I like this kick. I'll go ahead and press on this pad because it will load to this pad here. And there's two different versions on here. You can load or load into pool. So if you want to load these sounds into pool, then you can load it into your sample pool, which you'll learn about a little later. It's in sample assign for right now. And then you can hit load on the pad. Like if I wanted to load another kick, I'm going to hit this pad right over here. And then I'll hit load. And then you can hear that I got the sound. So I'm going to rinse and repeat this process. Now we got to a stopping point here. What I want to show you is the sample assign mode. So the way I showed you automatically loads everything into the pads here. So you have all the sounds. These are all the sounds that I picked out. However, if I wanted to, or if you wanted to, you can just go over here to the bottom right side of your screen and hit clear pad. And then you can keep on clearing these pads until everything is gone. Now that the pads are clear, you can see you have a sample pool. This is the sample pool that I talked about earlier, in which you have all your sounds in it. So you can preview all the stuff that you want and all this other stuff. So the only difference here is that you would press on the pad and then you will see where you want to put the sample at. So if I want to put the kick right back here, I can put the kick back right here. If I wanted to put the snare in there, all I had to do is just put the snare right here. And then if I wanted to put my hi-hats, and mind you that this should be your format here, is that you have your hi-hats right here, and then your kick, and then your snare, and then maybe an open hat or something like that at the end here. So I like that open hat. I'll just load it into this pad right over here. And now if I was to, okay, so what do we have so far? I don't like that open hat. And of course you can replace it the exact same way. I like this one right here. Okay, I like what I got right here. So I'll just continue this process, and then we're going to talk about changing the colors on the pads. So everything's cool. I'm just going to press the menu button because I want to get into the screen over here so I can do pad colors. And this is where you can color your pads. So basically what you could do is have your pad set up in a way to where everything is highlighted in a specific color. So right here, I would have to just go over here to pad, and then you can choose single pad or all pads. But I will do single pads and have them, let's see, light up or just be fixed. So what I'll do is I'll set up fixed on here, and that way we'll have fixed colors. A good rule of thumb in terms of coloring your pads, you want your kicks to be red, your snares, claps, and stuff like that to be in yellow, and then like your hi-hats and open hats in orange, And anything else like loops or something like that, light blue and dark blue, maybe foxes. And then you have your base, which is in green, and then pink, you will have your sample. So I'm gonna scroll back. Let's go ahead and get back into the main menu here and change the pad colors. So again, let's apply that philosophy. So I'm gonna have these pads red because these are my kicks. And then the next thing will be yellow, so that would be the snares. And then after that would be orange. I guess this is more orange than anything. Will be like my hi-hats and stuff like that. So that way it's easy to identify. And then I'll use blue for my effects. And then I'll use maybe another, again, use that. And then purple pads will be the sample itself. So I'll just go ahead and set up the pads to be purple or darker pink. And there you go. Now you know all what your pads are set up for. Now we can talk about adding a sample to these pads right over here. So what we're going to end up doing is just going back into the browser and finding a sample. So I have the sample right here. And what I'm going to do is just load it into the pool. So just load it in the pool. Some people, they'll do stuff like sample assign, and then they'll sample assign the exact same sample into all the pads here. Once they have put all the samples in the pad over there, what they'll do is they'll press and hold menu, or if they're on an MPC where they don't have to do that, they will just press the program edit button. I'll just go track edit or whatnot, because that's how it is now. And then they'll just go over here and they'll adjust every one of those samples. In MPC3, you can adjust all the start and end points right here. So if you like this part, the only thing that you will be concerned with is just going back into menu and doing the cutoff and whatnot. What we're going to do here is a bit different though. What I'm going to do is just remove all those samples out of that pool here. You can just go ahead and just go back into sample assign and then clear the pads as you want. But what I'm going to show you is a little bit more traditional when it comes to finger drumming or laying out beats on the MPC, because coming from the old school and whatnot, we would just have our program. We would just have one program and put all of our stuff in that one program to make it work. You know what I'm saying? So press and hold shift and then hit the mute button on the MPC Live 2. Of course, on all other MPCs, you can just hit the sample edit button or whatnot. So we have the sample here, and what we'll do is we'll just chop it up or whatnot, or listen to it and see what we have that we like or whatnot. Of course, you can go into processing and then, you know, lower let's say we want to lower the pitch of it. We'll just go over here, lower the pitch, and then I'll just lower it 3 semitones, and this is what we got. And again, you do not want to go over here to tune and just mess with tune of it, because it will slow it down as you go down in the tune of the sample, and faster when you go up in that. So you don't want to do that, okay? What I want to show you guys is a pretty decent way of chopping up a sample or whatnot. As I trim this off, I'm going to go ahead and trim this and make sure that the timing is right. So I just extracted the sample so it's 8 bars, but it might be a good idea for you to turn 0 snap on, and you could just press and hold shift on any MPC, and then you'll see 0 snap, and it'll snap to the 0 point of the sample so you don't get any pops. And from here, you know, you can use different things like BPM chopping and stuff like that. I know if it's not your steez, if you don't like BPM chopping, you can try regions chopping. And the very idea is to have 4 bars that can be timed in a certain manner so that they're time stretched properly. But it's dependent on how you chop your sample. So if it's not accurate, if it doesn't loop, then you'll have a problem with that. And you can also try like region chopping or even manual chop. But the thing is about manual chopping is that it's not guaranteed to be on the 1. You know what I'm saying? So think of it this way: 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, and it cuts off before the 3. You know what I'm saying? So that means that I have perfect loops. So when I go into things like time stretching, that will help that kit out a whole bunch. And of course, you can press and hold shift and do more processing. Like you might want to do like something like a reverse on one of those chops or whatnot. You could do all of that, but in this manner, it won't matter because of what we're going to do next. And that is converting this over. So this is the most important part, because when you're putting a kit together or whatnot, and you wanted to make sure that it's good for like Instagram or whatever you're trying to do, then you need to make sure that you're converting them to new samples. So once we go do that, so let's go ahead and do that right now. And you can choose to crop and create new track, but I'm not going to create a new track. What I'm going to do is just crop the samples. So after everything is done, you can just go and press shift and menu, or just hit the browse button on your MPC. And if you go and look, you should have all those new chops. You hear them? And then what I'll do is just put them in. Boom, boom. And keep in mind, you can put them in any order that you want because they're your chops, right? So I'm gonna put this chop right here. And then I'll put the first chop right here. Now we gotta tackle a new problem. You hear all those samples playing with each other, so that's where we're gonna go into track editing or drum programming or drum editing on the older MPCs. So all I had to do is just press and hold menu and hit this correlating pad. I believe in 2.0 is this pad right over here. We have the arranger in 3.0. So we have this sample right here, and if I play this again, you can hear two samples overlapping. So what you want to do is go into global, and this is where we're going to talk about mute groups. So this first sample, I'm going to put this in mute group 1. This sample in mute group 1. When I start pressing on these two pads right over here, you can hear they're chopping each other off. So we're in the right space right here, and I'm going to continue to process into the last pad. So in theory, I should be good to go from here. And then you want to go over here to your sample tab and take a look at it. What we're going to do is this right here. Remember when I said doing it evenly or just manual chopping could cause some issues? Well, I'm going to go ahead and do warp. And now what I want to do, since I warped this pad over here, I do remember the BPM of that sample or whatnot, or what was alleged to be that. So technically I need to set it to like 73, boom, boom, 73. And then we'll just go through all the samples and set them up for 73. Just a little bit of work, not too much. You know what I'm saying? This would be quick work once you get into programming this way. Especially for Instagram, this is just makes the most sense. So I'm gonna go ahead and type in that, boom, and out. Let's check the BPM of this right here. It's on 74, so if I was to go to maybe like 86. All right, so we have what it takes to have a kit. There's other things I want to show you, and I'm going to go back into track edit here. So I'm pressing hold menu. Remember, you can go over here and you can apply different speeds. That sounds horrible, but if I was to go or something of that nature, then we can get some interesting stuff there. So that's just one thing I want to show you. But the other thing that I want to show you is simple. So I have a couple of sounds over here like this, that. Maybe I want to, because I have two kicks, maybe I want this kick to have this sound in it, right? Instead of just me using two fingers. This is something that most of the finger drumming community don't talk about, and that is simultaneous play. So simultaneous play will allow me to add a certain pad to another pad. So this is pad, I believe, pad number 9 or 8 or something like that. There we go. So in theory, it'd be like simultaneous play is slept on a lot, but we gotta also talk about the other thing too, which is new to like 3.0 or 3. That is up to 8 layers. So I'm not gonna necessarily do a whole bunch of layering, but if I wanted to, I could layer both of these together just in one track. So if I wanted to go to layer 2 and then go over here to samples, and then I can give it some more distinction and go over here to tune. And then I can go over one more tab. Let's see here, random. And I can do like random pitches and stuff like that. So I can add random pitch. I can do, what is another thing? Random offset. So if I go over and tab over the Q link and then add some offset, I can get some intricate intervals there. And then it's also another detailed way of doing it too, because you can actually do the offset right over here, and then have more stuff there. And it's all individual pads too, by the way. But we got to talk about the elephant in the room, because some of the sounds are loud. What you want to do is just go ahead and we're going to double tab on the mix button over here, or actually tab once and then tab once over. And then now you can mix your individual stuff. So the sample is loud. We know that without a shadow of a doubt. So what we're going to do is turn that down. Turn all this down. You want to go through all your sounds and then just turn them down momentarily, or to where they're comfortably as loud as you want them to be. It's just brilliant in this sense, now that we can see it visually. And then we can go over here and add individual effects too. So maybe if you want that kick to hit a little harder, you know what I'm saying? We can make the kick hit a little harder. So I could just add, I guess, some dynamics, and then go into an not a expander, maybe a maximizer would do the job here. And I can add it to that individual pad. So let me go ahead and fix my snare real quick. And even though adding effects in this manner is great, I do not recommend that, because you got this over here. So once we go into track edit or program edit in the old MPC stuff, you can go over here to effects, and then you can see that you have the effect right over here that's to that individual pad or whatnot. And then you can go into your drum effects. What I do recommend is going over here and playing with some of this stuff over here, because this soft clipper, I believe, no, it's not the soft clipper that be hitting real different. It might be, dang, what is it? What is it? I think it might be tube drive. We go over here to tube drive. Oh yeah, that's it. And that's per pad too, by the way. This is per pad in drum effects. So you want to make good use of this, especially if you have like samples and stuff like that. I believe they might be a low pass, high pass filter. So yeah, you can add a high pass filter, like if you want to take some of that stuff out, just in case you want to do that. It's just, you know, just a little bit more of a workaround versus the older way of doing it. And simple like that, you can filter out all your stuff on these pads here individually the way that you want. It gives you a little bit more freedom than the other way around, you know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and test it out real quick. And I keep on forgetting that I have this right here. So it'd be like this. Okay, that sound needs to be turned down a whole lot. So what I'm gonna do is just go back over here. Oops, I'm in mutes. I don't need to be in mutes. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is turn down that sound. I just go over here to volume, and then just make sure that it's on the individual sound here. As I'm trying to talk over it, it's really loud. So you want to make sure that you do these consciously, because if you don't do it this way, what will end up happening is when you want to save it, you're going to have to do that all over again. So why not get it out the way? And you can also, by the way, you can go over here and then just add something to the drum bus itself. So what we could do, I can show you some examples of some pretty decent stuff. Like you already seen me use the maximizer. The maximizer will bring out the most out of that joint. You know what I'm saying? And you just got to be a little bit more conscious about what you pick individually. How will we save our drum program for later? Well, it's easy. All you have to do is just go into menu over here, press save, and then save. You'll see a whole bunch of stuff like project as, new project, track effects rack, and then drum program. We'll stop at drum program. You can also save samples and stuff too, but you can just go in here and then you just navigate to wherever you want to put your stuff, and then you just save it. I don't know. It's been a minute since I've done one of these videos, but what you can do is just save it. Let's go over here to drum programs, and then we'll just type in something like hip hop. You want to be conscious of how you tag stuff too, so you can look it up later. And then, you know, I guess like a name or something like that. I guess a better way to do it is just to look at one of your expansions or whatnot and see, you know, what it looks like on your expansion. So I'll just go to like lo-fi jazz. See, I see it says hip hop kit, and then it tells you the name and then the BPM. So what we'll do is we'll title this right here. We'll just go back in the main menu. And then we'll go to drum programs over here, save it over there, MPC drum programs. We're going to go and type in the name hip hop. Then we'll put a dash right here. Then we're going to put kit. So this way you can look it up faster. And then we'll put another dash in there and call this tutorial, or you can call it whatever you want if you're making your own kit or whatnot right now. And then of course, you want to put in a BPM. I'll put in like 88 BPM. I believe there was a dash after that. Maybe not. I don't know. So I'll just type in BPM or tutorial 88 BPM. So that way the next person or whoever might use it or whatnot, then they'll know what they're getting into. Maybe a more interesting name if you plan on making expansions and stuff like that. All right, so let's have some fun with this kit that we made.